Good morning. As we reviewed 1 Samuel on Sunday, we were reminded why Israel asked God for an earthly king. They had him to rule them from heaven, and they had his words through the prophet Samuel that gave them direction. They had God's oversight, since he, the one true creator God, was their covenant God. He promised to protect them and provide for them. So why in the world would they look at the other nations and their earthly kings and think that was better than what they had? And they wanted it so much that they began to demand it. Even after God warned them what an imperfect earthly king would require from them, they still wanted it. So, God, in his infinite wisdom, chose to give them an earthly king. He was to lead under God's leadership. God was not agreeing to relinquish his role as their covenant God. Thank goodness. He would merely work through that earthly king as that king looked to him for guidance and listened to that guidance and obeyed that guidance. So, no wonder when Saul was anointed the first king of Israel, the people had high hopes, but those hopes were dashed as Saul did not believe in God. He wouldn't obey his guidance. As an unbeliever, he then became more selfish, jealous, and vengeful. He had misplaced priorities. He misused his authority. He wasted the nation's resources. No wonder God rejected him and chose another. But back to why the Israelites demanded an earthly king. What were they thinking? What were they saying to God about God? Basically that God was not enough. They wanted more than him leading them. They wanted someone they could see, someone they could hear. They didn't want to walk by faith in God. That's worthy of reflection. Is God enough for us? Or do we look to the world for more? Is God's grace sufficient for our needs? Or do we need more than what God has chosen to provide for us? I'd like to read from the familiar passage where today's theme verse is found, and just let it minister encouragement to our hearts today to inspire our faith in our all-sufficient God and what he provides for us. This is Paul's testimony from 2 Corinthians 12:17, what he learned about God and his grace. To keep me from becoming conceited because of these surpassingly great revelations, a thorn was given me in the flesh, a messenger of Satan to torment me, to keep me from becoming conceited. 3 times I pleaded with the Lord about this, that it should leave me. But he said to me, "My grace is sufficient for you. For my power is made perfect in your weakness. Therefore, I will boast all the more gladly of my weaknesses, so that the power of Christ may rest upon me. For the sake of Christ, then, I am content with weaknesses, insults, hardships, persecutions, and calamities. For when I am weak, then I am strong." God's grace is sufficient for me. Say that with me. God's grace is sufficient for me. One more time. God's grace is sufficient for me. Yes, it is. Let's pray. O Lord, right now, we receive your grace. And we thank you that you are sufficient for whatever we will face this day. Today, we will trust you in all things. Now, you continue. God bless you.
Thank you for listening to Mornings with Pastor Jim. This podcast is a ministry of Family Church PC. For more information or to contact us, go to familychurchpc.com. Have a blessed day.